The NATO chief calling for a transatlantic defense industrial revolution, unveiling a raft of billion-dollar military projects at a summit in the Turkish capital where NATO's European members and Canada are working to cut their reliance on the United States. Our leaders from all 32 member states, plus representatives from partner nations in Ankara for 2 days of talks. Our US President Donald Trump has continued to press European allies to shoulder more of the cost of defense. Mark Rutte, that's a NATO SecGen, saying members have increased their spending to around 4% of their national GDPs. That's closer to the target spelt out at last year's summit of 5% by 2035.
The strategy is clear, but the match is far from over. And to win it, we need all team members to pull their weight. Do more, faster, together. We don't have the luxury of time. We need capabilities now to ensure we remain ready.
And William Denselow, tracking developments for CNA, joins us live from Ankara. Will, NATO's Secretary General there saying the need for capabilities now. Do the deals we've seen announced today at least lay the foundation for these capabilities?
There are certainly encouraging signs, but Mark Rutte says that yet more action is needed. He says he wants to see NATO's defence industrial production go from a hum to a roar. Now, here in Ankara, as you've mentioned, plenty of pledges to increase some of this increase in spending we've seen really over the past year by NATO allies into tangible products. Now, when it comes to some of these results, Mark Rutte says that he wants to see this really seen across a spectrum of the defence industry, whether it's satellites, whether it's drone manufacturing, whether it's aircraft capabilities going forward. He says tangible action has already been taken. He says that artillery production by next year will hit around 4 million rounds of ammunition to be produced each year. He says that's nearly double what was able to be produced by NATO allies last year. So significant progress there. But he says much more is needed. He says there's really pressure coming from Russia, where half of Russia's annual budget is spent on defence. The task for NATO is to try and match that based on the threat coming from Moscow. And of course, there's also the threat coming from the Trump administration in the United States. They have warned that Europe has roughly 6 months to get their house in order as the Trump administration sees it and take control of Europe's own security as the US seeks to take a step back from providing that umbrella of defence security for the European continent.
So will threats from Russia, threats from core pillar member United States, and threats as well on the economic front from what might happen in the Strait of Hormuz. What are NATO members planning to do at this meeting in Ankara to push for more stable supplies through the Strait of Hormuz?
That's absolutely right. Of course, Mark Rutte says that a number of these conflict or crisis flashpoint theatres have become increasingly interwoven. He said that the bridges between Russia, Iran and China, for example, were getting closer. They were cooperating more, and NATO needed to match that. Now, when it comes to the conflict, the crisis in the Middle East and instability seen with the closure or disruptions, huge disruptions through this strategically vital waterway of the Strait of Hormuz, we're expecting movement in NATO foreign ministers meeting with several Gulf counterparts a little later here in Ankara to discuss plans to provide that stability through this waterway that accounts for around a fifth of the world's energy supplies. We expect developments when it comes to the UK and France's and Germany's push to see a maritime cooperative mission to try and provide safe passage of vessels through the Strait of Hormuz. Of course, that's something that Iran itself has been very sceptical to, but that'll be a key part of these discussions a little later among these allies as they gather here in the Turkish capital.
Oh, thanks. William Denselow reporting for CNA live there from the Turkish capital of Ankara.